This is from a story called The Blizzard. Our narrator, Eric, is walking out of his parents' house after a contentious dinner where he found out his father has cancer. Mom caught up with me in the foyer. "Nah, just let him go, Doris," my dad called from the dining room. I pawed through the coats on the rack, looking for my own. "It's still snowing," she said. I pulled my arms into the sleeves of my coat. "Looks like it." "I wish you'd stay." "Hell no. It'll blow over." Even as she said it, though, she handed me my gloves and then started wrapping my scarf around my neck, like she used to do when I was little. I didn't ask her whether she meant the snowstorm would blow over or Dad's thunderous mood. His cancer certainly wouldn't. It'd most likely blow through, like a tornado leveling a trailer park. Of course, I couldn't just get in my car and pull out of the driveway. A layer of snow had frosted the windows and the headlights. I started the engine and turned the defroster up to full, then rummaged through the trunk for the snow brush. I couldn't find it, so I made do with a reusable grocery bag. I was glad the dining room looked out onto the backyard instead of the front. At least I could be relatively certain they weren't sitting there watching me make my slow getaway. A getaway that, in fact, turned out to be no getaway at all. Once I'd cleared off the windows, I got back in the car, put it in reverse, and gave it a little gas. The wheels spun over packed snow. The car moved maybe a couple inches up the hill, then sank back to where it started. I rested my forehead against the steering wheel until I heard someone tapping on the driver's side window. When I looked up, my brother stood there in his coat and knit hat, squinting against the snow that was flying straight into his face. I rolled down the window. "Stuck?" Justin asked. "Yeah." I pressed the gas a little to make my point. He waved his hands and stepped back. "Hang on, you're just going to make it worse." Was that possible, I wondered? Justin walked around to the front of the car and braced his hands against the hood. The headlights washed out his face except for his eyes, which sank into shadow. It was like looking at a skull. "Put it in reverse, but don't give it any gas yet." He had to shout to be heard over the engine and the wind whistling past. I did what he said, and he lowered his head and shoved the car as hard as he could. It moved, maybe an inch or two further than the last time. "Gas! Gas!" he shouted. But then the wheels just started squealing as they skidded across the ice-packed snow. Justin waved his hand in a cut-it motion. I switched the engine off. "There's no way we're going to get it up the driveway anyhow," he said. "I'll give you a lift." I sat there for a moment while he turned and started trudging toward the street. I didn't want to accept a favor from my brother, especially when I couldn't understand why he was offering it in the first place. But I didn't want to face going back in the front door and telling them I was stuck either. I opened the door and got out. Justin was already in his truck, engine idling, when I climbed in. "Thanks," I said. "Thank you."